Go ahead and leave a comment about how you deal with your children leaving home while I recover.
Honey, I raised the kids.
Our kids leaving the nest is never easy. So in order to cope, Jason and Rachel have decided to share the journey of their kids, Caleb and Ariel, or Bees as most know her. Follow the story in this podcast.
Honey, I raised the kids.
All right, there it is, episode 03, Honey, I Raised the Kids. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. This is my beautiful wife, Rachel.
Hey, y'all.
And we are in a more echoey Golden Scissor studio than I thought. That's just because we're in the process of moving.
Took everything off the walls.
I guess my Star Wars action figures were absorbing
Sucking up your sound.
my mouth. I'll just talk this way.
But talk that way to Darth Vader. He'll suck up your face.
Yeah, you like me when I'm talking away from you anyway, don't you?
I
You know, when we first met, one of the most romantic things ever said from a man to a woman,
That was my favorite.
I said to my wife, I said, you're so much more beautiful when you're not breathing.
I try not to breathe.
And it was, I mean, that.
It's real hard.
Fellas, if you want to know how to be with somebody for, I don't know, 13 years,
Yeah,
that's what you got to say to them.
I love it.
I mean, it's a panty dropper. It's a panty dropper, let me tell you.
That's what does it for me every time.
Yeah, well.
It's fine.
So this podcast, if you don't know, is about us pretty much doing therapy to each other because we are experiencing not only the snoring of our dogs in the background, but we're experiencing our kids, both Caleb and Ariel, leaving the nest, and we are becoming empty nesters.
It's really absolutely ridiculous.
Caleb, 23, just turned 23.
Yeah, he had a birthday.
He's been out of the house for 5 years.
Sure.
And as we talked about in the last episode, it's a lot easier for guys. Actually, you know what? On the Sub Extra, the BS episode 169, last Friday, I talked with John Andrazik, 5 for Fighting, and we talked about being empty nesters.
Oh, he's an empty nester too.
He's got a couple more years on us,
Okay.
but he agreed. And by the way, if you haven't listened to that conversation, please subscribe to the BS podcast to get those sub extras and the sub episodes. But that was a really good conversation with John, aka 5 for Fighting. But he agreed. He said, guys, boys,
He has a boy and a girl.
yeah, are different.
Yeah.
Just
You
absolutely
let the fellas
different.
go. Because they always know. They think they know.
It's just different. It's just different. So, you know, Ariel, 18, 19, almost 19.
Yeah, she's almost 19.
She's going to be 19 this month in April. You know, she's self-sufficient. I mean, every day I see her do things that just blow my mind.
Y'all were so cute making breakfast.
Oh, she was making breakfast for me.
I know she was.
And
I was trying to be nice.
well, the
I
funny
knew what was going on.
the funny thing is, you know, just a couple years ago, I would make breakfast for her.
I know.
And she offered. And the eggs were delicious, cheesy eggs.
I know. She's
Which
so good.
she learned from Mama.
She did.
She learned the cheesy eggs from Mama. But this episode, we're going to concentrate on Caleb. We want to introduce you to our oldest. And again, I stepped into Caleb's life when he was 10.
9.
9.
9.
9. Okay. So as a stepfather, you know, I was lucky enough, blessed enough, honored enough to be a stepfather to both Caleb and Ariel. He was 9. She was 5. Right. Yeah, she was 5. And Caleb, to me, was nothing what I thought I was getting myself into.
No, you had no idea it was a surprise.
You're
welcome.
I didn't know that I was going to be a steptism. I love you, Caleb.
He knows. He knows. It's fine.
You know, Caleb is one of those kids who's just absolutely
So brilliant.
brilliant, so smart. That was the word I was going to use. He's so smart. He realizes he's smart, but he doesn't allow his genius to work for him because everything around him is so dumb.
Yeah. Well, everybody's wrong.
And
why would you expect any different?
He didn't get that from me, people.
Well, listen,
He was born with that.
he was born with that, but he was also raised with that. So it was like he was just born.
Double
to be-
dipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Caleb's really smart, too smart for his own good, and he is on the spectrum.
He is.
We learned that in his later teen years.
Well, so, all right, listen. My sister posted a post, happy birthday. Oh, she was there when I had Caleb, and when I went to the hospital, I was in labor, and my water broke. I didn't know what was going on. I was 16, and I went to my mother, and I said, I don't think that I just peed myself. Which, I mean, we know now. Now I do pee myself.
Absolutely would pee yourself. Yeah.
Right. But when I was 16, I was not peeing myself. So I was like, I think my water broke. So, of course, Mom lost it. And Sarah's downstairs, and she's like, Mom, what are you doing? Why are you yelling at Rachel to go get her bag? Just get her bag and let's go. We get to the hospital, and I literally had no time for drugs, no nothing. I had him all natural, and he was here in like 2.5 hours. All right. So by the time I got to the hospital and had the chance to say, give me something, they gave me like adenosine or something in my IV, and I delivered, and then I got loopy. And I said, give him to my sister. So she was the one that held Caleb first at 15 years old.
So the moral of the story is your sister gave him the tism.
No, but we used to torment him when he was little.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't think, we did. We tormented the hell out of that kid. I mean, they were tormenting him way before I got in the picture.
So,
but I got there, and it was a different torment.
You didn't do the same kind of torment that Sarah and I used to. When he was little, he would make these parking lots, perfect squares, and all of his Hot Wheels cars, the headlights were all facing the same direction, right? Probably a sign, no idea, I had no clue. And he would leave the room after he's made his Hot Wheels parking lot, is what he would call them. And my sister and I would go and take one car and flip it the opposite direction and just sit and wait for him to come back into the room, because he'd come back in the room, know exactly which car it was, flip it back around, and lose his shit. And we thought it was the funniest thing ever. He's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Well, I don't think that's a tism. That's more of an OCD, because I would do similar things when I was a kid.
All right.
I mean, I don't have the tism.
You sure?
No.
Got a touch of it.
Possibly. I mean, I had OCD as a kid. I would, at 8 years old, 9 years old, the day before, I would write a list of things that I was going to do the next day. And it would start with breakfast. It would start with G.I. Joes, then Star Wars, then Atari. Then
I hate to tell you.
Then I'd go outside. Then I'd come in. And then, I would plan things out. 7, 8 years old, I'm doing this.
I don't think that's OCD.
It is OCD.
Okay.
It's being very responsible.
All right.
That's what it's responsible.
I believe you.
It's responsible.
I don't agree with you, but I believe you.
It's responsibism. That's what it's called.
It's a different kind of
It's
tism.
a totally different kind of tism.
Yeah.
It's responsitism.
We function real well in our tism household.
Yeah.
It's fine. And he's being an adult now.
Yeah, that's the thing, so Caleb and I, for those of you that have listened to me, especially, in Atlanta, you got the whole 9 yards. You got the whole shebang from beginning to end. And literally the end when I kicked him out of the house.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
And I talked about all that on the air.
He was being a dick.
Total dick. And I it made for great radio. It was all very real.
Well, the issue was because of his autism, his explosions are so big, and everything you do is big. So the bigs together is just intense.
Well,
I'm probably a saint.
So I grew up like many of you as a Gen Xer, and it was rub some dirt on it. That was the mentality.
Sure.
And he is not part of that generation. He's part of this very odd 5-year gap of, just imagine he's 23 now.
The bubble wrap baby.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. That group of kids, They never wanted to go outside. They were the online video game players. They were the, like wannabe emo kind of kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very
Hot Topic kids.
Very hateful, very spiteful, didn't need anybody.
I can do it myself.
If you're older, you don't know. I know. And it's weird because Ariel, who's again getting ready to turn 19, her generation's nothing like that.
No, her generation is more like my generation.
Correct. Very, very millennial-esque. Very millennial-esque. And even a touch of the late Gen X's as far as, thank God we've gotten out of that, the my body's great, whatever generation. That was Caleb.
Love your body.
That was Caleb's generation.
Love everything.
Now, here, as we got to do something with them. They're so loud.
What do you want me to do with
We
him?
got to put him outside the door.
He's not going to stay out there.
He's got to. We got a Henry. You guys are snoring.
Henry, come here.
So when it took me a long time as a stepfather, as a Gen X stepfather, as a rub the dirt on it stepfather.
I don't rub dirt on it.
It took me a long time to realize how wrong I was. And just because it was my way of thinking doesn't necessarily mean it was the right way of thinking. Just because it was a generational way of thinking doesn't mean it was the right way of thinking. Now, that doesn't mean that I buy into all the crap, right? I don't buy into all of it. But what I think is important, the lesson that I learned, is that I can still believe what I want to believe. But if I'm going to talk to somebody I love, like Caleb, my son, then I'm going to have to budge more than I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to budge a lot. And I'm going to have to say to him, I'm going to have to listen, do a lot of listening. In my head, I can be saying all these different things, but I can't say it out loud. And then I have to kind of see the direction. And I'm talking like it's happening right now. It's not. This was then. This is what I did then. I would see the direction that things went and kind of went along with them. And I think that towards the end of his teen years helped our relationship, because I would listen, I would wait for him and I would listen to him. And we have a lot of things in common. We love rock music. We love wrestling. We love Star Wars.
I don't think you realize how similar the two of you are.
I know we're very similar in a lot of different ways. So, the reason why I say that to those that are listening, because I know as this podcast starts to catch on, and I got a comment today from a two-peer that, by the way, two peers are listeners of the BS. Again, I'm treating this podcast, even though it's on the same network, as a totally different podcast. But, listeners of mine for many years, is that they're going through the same thing. And they, just started listening to this new podcast. And so I say that as advice to, see, look, they're snoring loud. I say this to advice to anyone that is raising a kid with any type of autism.
Oh, absolutely. I've read all the books, I've taken all the classes, and it doesn't matter. Nobody knows how to do it right because each kid is different. Right. And the spectrum, it's called being on the spectrum for a reason, because it's a freaking giant spectrum. You could be like
huge spectrum,
a little blip.
Yeah.
Or you could be like full on.
That's a big spectrum.
Yeah, you could, but every kid is different, and they're like tics and processing, and the things are all very different, and they don't all have the same tisms. Yeah, they just don't.
Another thing that I learned is that even though as the parent, most likely you're going to know better, you're going to know best, you can't tell them that. You have to convince them that.
And
there's a difference.
And it doesn't matter if you convince them or not. They're not going to believe you until they want to.
Or they do it and they try it. Mm-hmm. So the faster that you can get them to try what you're suggesting, and the faster it works.
That was the easiest with Caleb, was when you were like, oh, why don't you come and do this with me?
Right, yeah.
And have him try it, because then he's like, no, I hate that. Oh, maybe I don't hate that.
Right, yeah. So, that was when he was in his teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
and again, let's go back. We missed the whole section here, but when I first got into y'all's lives, I remember that day, I was living in that condo in Baldwin Park in Orlando, Florida.
Fave.
And I love that place. Oh, I miss that place. That was Big Daddy Bang Bang stomping grounds right there. Anyway, so I took y'all out. We went to the pool, and then there was this like little green area.
Mm-hmm.
And
a little like park.
Yeah, it was just, you were playing. So I was like, oh my God, this is what I always wanted. Because I grew up without a dad. I always wanted to play catch with my dad, whether it's a baseball, whether it's a football. That's what any bastard son wants, is to play catch with his own father. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in on this. I assumed he was in on this.
Do you know what they say of people that assume?
Not to assume. And so
Don't do it.
I just figured as a 9-year-old boy, he's caught a football before.
We are not sports inclined. Not. He's musically inclined.
Well, I throw the football at him, and it's like that scene in Howard Stern's Private Parts when he throws the Frisbee at the guy in the park and it just nails him in the nose. He goes, that's really good. You just have to catch it next time. I throw it at Caleb and whoop, right in the face. And I'm thinking,
do you know that he still remembers that?
Did he not see the ball? How did he not see the ball? Okay, let's try it again. Next time, you want to put your hands like a diamond. You want to get that nose of the ball in the diamond and then you tuck it. Maybe I'm not speaking loud enough. Maybe
he still remembers that. He was so upset. He traumatized him with the football.
Maybe I'll have Caleb run some routes. All right, you're gonna go 5 yards and you're gonna go 5 yards this way. Okay. Okay, I think he's got it. There he goes. He just keeps running right in the gut. So now I'm
A for effort on your part.
Now I'm just beaming this football at this child in the park.
Bad. It was so bad.
And I start getting frustrated.
Like, what are you doing?
And it's like a coach would do to a third baseman who refuses to get in front of the ball and they just kind of olay it. It was like, no, I'm just going to keep throwing the football at him until he catches it. That kid didn't catch the ball once that day in the park. Not once. Matter of fact, I think he started crying and running home. I was like, this relationship's done.
So one of his, which is the funniest, it's the funniest thing, but it's like the craziest thing on the face of the planet. So anytime he goes to fall, he does not, like a natural reaction is to put your hands out to catch yourself when you fall. He does not do that. He just smack and will eat it. He's done it numerous times throughout. You remember at our house in Roswell, that hill, and all of the teenagers are like, oh, we're going to go outside and play, and we're going to go, they had those little the little two-wheel scooters, and I remember thinking in my head, they all just said they want to go outside and play. This is not going to be good.
Not going to be good.
Not going to be good. So they all go, and it was Ariel, Caleb, Tristan, and I think maybe Mirandy, the little girl around the corner.
Yeah, two of the kids' friends.
Yeah, and so they go down this hill, and they're like, think it's a great idea. Caleb thinks it's a great idea to get on this itty-bitty tiny baby scooter, and he's 6'4", and go down this gigantic, like, straight downhill.
Not good.
Hits a bump.
Boom.
Smacked. Then, like, cracked his head on the... He's okay. Clearly, he just turned 23. It's fine. But cracked his head on the little curb and comes back to the house gushing his... elbow, I saw a picture of it the other day, gushing blood. And I'm like, I knew this was going to happen. And he was so mad. I was laughing, but I couldn't help it because I was like, y'all were outside for like 10 minutes and you're coming back gushing blood. What? These
are the stories, and we've got a million of them, and we're not obviously going to get them all in this episode, but we wanted to kind of showcase Caleb as we start this podcast. And so, not just talk about Ariel and bees, she's the last to leave the nest. And yes, it's going to be more difficult. We've made that very, very clear. But Caleb has already left the nest. I mean, he's been out and he's thriving right now. And even though he's 23, right? Just turned 23 years old.
I can't believe that.
You remember 20, like RaeJae was an MTV show, like
I was
16 and knocked up or
16
whatever.
16 and crushed it.
Yeah. And so, with Caleb, these past 5 years in particular, watching him get to where he's gotten now. Now, granted, I would have loved to have seen him go farther. Like at 23, I would have liked to have seen him in a better job, a better career, making millions and millions of dollars because he's smart enough to do it.
Not there yet. It takes a little bit of time.
He's not there yet. But the good thing is he's working hard and he's becoming financially smart. He's got the value of $1.
He does.
And he's kind, and he grew up a very selfish kid, like most of us, granted.
No worry.
But I never thought that this version of Caleb would ever exist. And he exists. He lives about 45 minutes away from my mother. And he'll go over and visit my mother.
Just to go take her to lunch.
Two totally different people. Their belief systems and all that kind of stuff. But Caleb loves to talk, and what he likes even better is someone to listen to him.
And your mother will listen to him all day.
Bless her heart. She loves Caleb.
She does.
Loves Caleb.
Do you know how nice it is to hear your mother call and say how incredible Caleb is and how smart he is? I mean, like, my mom has been grandma for forever. She's been able to experience all of this. And of course, it's like the sun rises and sets on Caleb with my mother. But to have this new side of things, new grandma, so now we've got two. And for her to see this different side of and this adult that we raised be such a good human being.
Yeah. Where is he working now?
He's at a smoke shop. I mean, we keep weed alive.
Okay, so
it helps to mellow him. So it's good.
He's had more jobs by 23 than I've had in my. Believe it or not, y'all, he's had more jobs than I've had in my entire life.
So he has a slight problem with authority.
Did not get that from me.
You sure?
No, I'm not.
I know.
Yeah.
He has. It's funny to see how both of the kids and me looking at this.
Both the kids, me and Caleb?
Well, I have 3 children. It's fine. You have 2. I have 3.
Yeah,
it's good.
Because Caleb and I have the same problem with authority.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but it's funny to see with both of the kids the way that they interact with authority, the way that they interact out in public, and now as they're becoming adults, the certain mannerisms and things that they do. I know that if you're looking at both of the kids, you see things that they do that are me, but there are things that I see that I'm like, oh, you got that from Jason. That was not me. So, but like you naturally pick up habits from your parents.
Oh.
And they do.
Bee's picked up some good habits from me, I think.
Yeah.
And Caleb.
She picked up some good habits and then some impressive habits.
Meaning what?
She's real quick-witted.
Oh yeah, and snarky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can be snarky.
She can hold her own.
And she has a little touch of the bad case of authority. Yeah, she'll stand up for herself, which is good. She does. I was trying to think, with this last birthday for Caleb, any birthdays that we had with Caleb that stand out. I don't remember any like big parties or anything.
So this very lucky child, and I don't know if he even recognizes.
We went to WrestleMania one time, didn't we, for his birthday?
Every year, because it's the same weekend as his birthday. It's the same weekend him and Dallas, DDP, have the same birthday. And so we go, you take us to WrestleMania every year for the last 7 years.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets WrestleMania tickets for his birthday every year, and we go on a trip and do WrestleMania.
That's right.
Darn.
Yeah.
Tough life.
We didn't get it this year.
No.
This would have been a good year, too.
FYI, WWE will be in Florida, I think Jacksonville, in May.
Yeah.
So he might hit you up.
Yeah, that's fine.
He wants to take his girlfriend.
No, I thought I was going.
You can fly and go and see him.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, maybe I could go with
We
them.
could go together.
Be like, yeah, we'll double date.
Yeah.
With our son. We remember when the kids were younger, we would joke all the time about how we couldn't wait for them to turn 16 so they could be our designated driver. We'd go out to the casino and
Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah, but it didn't happen as often as we wanted it to happen.
It did not.
One, we're not big party people. We're not big drinkers, even though we are drinking now.
This is my party cup.
And two, we never had them pick us up. I mean, not that we drove drunk or anything. We just were never out or we Ubered.
That is true, but there is one time Caleb was coming to visit from Florida. Ariel drove us to the bar, and Caleb drove us home from the bar.
Yeah, that was one time.
Yeah, just once.
That was
enough.
No, I was expecting it to be I was going to take up being an alcoholic. Just so
we
we
can
could
start now.
We could have
I need
free
a new
rides.
hobby.
Yeah, well, maybe with all these changes, but Caleb has become a very, very good guy. A very good kid. He's that kid that I had so many issues help raise has become a very, very good human being. And I'm very proud of him. And, unfortunately, as of right now, we don't get to see him as often as we would like to see him.
Right.
But
that does not make me happy, but it's okay.
Well, hopefully that'll change in the near future.
Yeah.
It should change in the near future. I know with the changes that, you and I are going through with the move and out here and everything that happened, this isn't the right venue to talk about that stuff. But, the next stage of our lives, because we're still young, I'm
going to be 40 soon.
I know. You're going to be 40 and I'm going to be 49.
You're old, it's fine.
But we're still young parents that will be empty nesters, and I think
we're empty nesters much sooner than most people.
Right, but I think instead the mindset that most empty nesters have is, I don't know, maybe you think differently, but most empty nesters think okay, the kids are out, we can now do these trips, and those empty nesters, traditionally would then be going into retirement. And that's all changed, and we're definitely not going into retirement.
No, I got a whole nother life.
And I was talking actually to Ariel about this today. The next phase of our lives, because of the moves that we're about to make, professionally and personally, is to experience our kids in these adult-esque years.
Yeah.
Before they get to that next stage where they're married with their own families and they literally won't have any time for us. I was telling Ariel that today over cheesy eggs. I said, I will be very excited, and this will be the next 3 years of your life going to the University of Alabama to be close enough to you to experience those years with you. Frank the Tank, man, I'm going to be at every party.
I cannot wait to see Frank the Tank.
But to be around Caleb, even at 23, he's not getting married anytime soon. For the next couple...
No, I think that's a good idea.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And I think for the next couple years, as he figures out his path in life, we get to be there and help guide him, and he'll listen, a little bit more.
I want to hang out with our adult kids.
I do too.
Fun.
Is that weird, people that are listening? We're sitting here freaking out about being empty nesters. We're going to hunt them down. We're going to track them down. We are going to...
You can't get away from me.
We are going to insert air tags in their balls.
I'll find you.
We will find you. Our children are going to be walking air tags.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that we have any worries about that. Ariel and all of her little girlfriends, everybody will come and hang with us. The girls all want to come and
nobody believes me when I say those things.
Oh, they so do.
Everybody thinks that I make it up or I'm forcing it, that I think these kids want to hang out with us.
They so do. I can show you the text messages. Tati cried.
Honestly, do not believe me when I tell them that. Yeah. I'm like, we are the cool parents. They love us. Yeah. They miss us and they love us and they always want to be around us. Hang out. And they were furious when we moved out here to California.
Because they did not have readily available access. So now you have girls on FaceTime all the time that want to know what you have to say and your opinion on things.
Right. Yeah.
Kinsey calls when she has, big news with work and she's taking her fitness training classes and stuff like that. She's like, what does Jason think? Is he proud of me?
Well, Caleb is a great young man at 23. We love him very, very much, and we're very proud of the young dude that he's grown up to be and the guy that he'll eventually be. He's not getting in any trouble. He's not being arrested.
Nope. He's adulting very well.
He is adulting very well. He's got himself a nice little girlfriend.
I'm really proud of him.
He gets rid of the crazies. He's navigating his way through the dating world. Mm-hmm. He just moved in with his buddy that he's known for years, and they share a house, and it's like 4 of them that live there, which is, you know what? Like, if you got to do it when you're young.
That's what you're supposed to do in your 20s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I lived with my best friends. I lived in a fraternity house.
And it's fun.
It's a blast. Yeah. You get to a point where it's not a blast anymore, but it's a blast. You have to experience that stuff. And just like Ariel, when she goes off to University of Alabama, she's going to live in a place where she's got 3 roommates and these girls. And, it's like a little apartment, little suite area that they got. And she'll join the sorority and she'll do all that. And she'll get to experience that and she'll be able to have fun. And and just like Caleb, Ariel, they'll have stories of their young 20s.
Which is absolutely the life experience they should have.
Absolutely. I agree. So
I can't.
So Caleb has been out of the nest for a while, and we are going to probably join his nest sooner than later.
I don't know if I want to join his nest, but he can come over to ours.
Well, and you don't want to go over to that house?
No, probably not.
Yeah, you're right.
They're 20.
That's probably going to be disgusting. I agree. Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday to Caleb.
We love him.
We love him. We love him very, very much. And we love you for listening. So thank you for listening to us vent about us becoming empty nesters. We're halfway there. Like I said, Caleb's already out. Bees is on our way. Things are changing in our lives, in our world, and we're sharing it with you. This is our therapy. Remember, throughout the week, you've got more podcast episodes from the BS Network. The Bailey Show continues on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Subscribers get Tuesday and Thursday episodes. The freebie episodes are Wednesdays. And then every once in a while, and actually the last couple of weeks, there's been one on Friday.
Surprise.
Yeah, we call them sub extras. So if you're a subscriber to the podcast, and we hope you do, it's only $4.99. You go to TheBaileyShow.com. Support the cause and make sure you go through all the social medias and give us a like, share, follow at Listen to the BS on YouTube. These episodes in their entirety are posted up on the YouTube channel at The Bailey Show. So if you want to watch the podcast and see the beautiful RaeJae and the not so beautiful Jason.
And my party cup.
And her party cup. See the dogs in the background snoring. You can do that on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to that. That's free at The Bailey Show. And then up on the website, there's a way for you to sign up for the newsletter that I send out on a weekly basis. We've got merchandise up there if you want.
Some really awesome shirts.
Very cool shirts that you can go up there and it'll give you a link. So lots of stuff going on. Just take a visit to TheBaileyShow.com. But the main priority is please subscribe to the network so you can get all of the episodes and everything that we do. We put a lot of work into providing content for on the men 4 days out of the week. So it's a lot of work. 4 days out of the week times, 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 shows, give or take, it's not bad for $4.99 if you dig what we're doing. So
cuts into his professional poker time.
It does cut into sometimes I can't go to the poker room because I have to, quote unquote, work.
True story.
People don't think I work, but I do. I work. I really do work.
I watch you do it.
All right. You got anything before we get out of here?
No, I love Caleb.
All right. There you go. You love Caleb. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. And bye.
I realize not everyone feels this way, and if you are okay with this stage of your life, honestly, more power to you.
Thanks for listening. Get more information and episodes on TheBaileyShow.com.
Honey, I raised the kids.
Subscribe at TheBaileyShow.com. Yeah, baby.